it rolls along. Sons of Nebraska, now it's coming near with a rising cheer that'll sweep all foes away. So with all our vim, we're bound to win, and we're going to win today. If it takes a bull, Charlie Vanderbilt, would you take that ball in hand? Now we're gonna hit right in front of him, then we set sail for the land. It's a week or two with a chosen few, would be all around everywhere. And before they quit, they would calmly sit down behind that dull post there. For Nebraska and the Scarlet, for Nebraska and the Brave, though they go through many battles, our colors still are city and soul. So the contest ended victory, we'll wave them on the tail, and we'll always stand a colored Husker, the Scarlet and the Brave.
She gets blocked. From Michael.
I don't know if you can hear me, but we'll be back. Hold on. All right, hey, we are good to go. Let's go, brother.
Alrighty.
Shout out, Matt.
I'm Jimmy.
We are two average guys hanging out here in our beautiful basement studio, talking to you guys today. What's up, Donnie? Welcome to the show, buddy. We're talking to you
Hey,
today
what's going down?
about Husker football, along with, we're also going to want to make sure we are discussing some of our newest recruits.
Yes.
And we have the college football playoff game tomorrow
Championships tomorrow.
night. But we also had some pretty darn good bowl games on New Year's Day that we can talk about as well. So, got a few different things, a few different topics. Should be a pretty fun
for
time.
sure. The college football playoff games were incredible. As much as we even talked about Florida State getting left out, I mean, it was the right, it was the right choice based off of the way those two games went.
Well, I don't know.
And I'm not talking about the Florida State Georgia game because disregard that game.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the actual two playoffs.
I still don't know if I agree, and the only reason why I'd say I don't know I agree is because I still think Florida State, with their backup quarterback, if they didn't have everybody that opted out or decided to do NFL draft, I really don't know that they wouldn't have been able to compete with either of those teams.
With Michigan.
Yeah, or really any of the four. Really,
Yeah.
to be honest. Now, do I think they would have won? I don't know. Different story. Their defense is what kept them in a lot of games and really won them a lot of games.
Right. And that game with Georgia is a complete one.
Yeah, I mean, Georgia wanted to win the game.
Yeah, and they still have guys sitting out.
And here's the thing about that game that kind of drives me nuts. And this is the state of college football and kind of what we're seeing now with bowl games is if it doesn't matter, the players don't care. Right. But for a team like Georgia and Florida State, both of them should have been saying, we deserve to be in there, we're going to show up, and we're going to show everyone that we deserve to be in that game, in the Final Four.
Right.
Only one of them did that.
Yeah, and I think it was, the last 14 playoff. Now that it's going to 12, you're not going to see that. I mean, yeah, you're going to see that. You'll see teams, and I know, I've seen predictions of next year, and they have Arizona winning the Big 12 as a 14 overall seed.
Yeah.
And being a bye because the top four or conference champs get buys.
Yeah.
So it might not be top 12. You know what I mean? But there's going to be – I don't know how it's going to be for bowl games moving forward. I mean, there might still be a lot of guys that sit out, but it's going to be, I think, a little different than a team like Georgia that was back-to-back national champs or an undefeated Florida State that has guys sit out. You're not going to have a team like that because 12 are going to make it in. You're not going to have an undefeated team that gets left out.
I bet you're going to see a lot less. You're going to see a lot less people opting out, just because
of there's a chance. If they're number 12, yes, they're a 12 seed. They have a chance. And you're talking about, and think about Arizona.
Exactly.
Think about what you said about Arizona. If Arizona ends up being a number 14 seed in winning the Big 12, Arizona had a hell of a year this year. They started off kind of slow, but man, they really turned it around. If they can do that in the Big 12 this next year, I would be shocked if a Big 12 champ is sitting at 14, unless they have like 3 losses. But even then, like that seems highly unlikely. It's very rare when you see that happen for a conference champ.
Unless it's just A beats B, B beats C, C beats A kind of a thing.
Yeah,
like it
exactly.
has been in the past with Big 12.
Well, and you're talking about a big expansion of conferences too. The Big 12 is changing.
I don't know how their conference championship is going to be set up, or I mean, is the Big 10 is top 2, right? So theoretically, Michigan and Ohio State could play the last week and then play again.
Exactly.
So
it's going to be interesting.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, what happens if both those teams are 11-0 going into that game, and then Michigan beats Ohio State, and then Michigan beats Ohio State again in the Big 10 championship, and they have 2 losses? They could be a team that's like a 10 seed.
Yeah.
And I mean, only lost to one team, really. Yeah. So you never know.
It's going to be really interesting. And Donnie mentioned bowl games are going to go away. Here's one thing I'm not sure about the bowl games. It's interesting you say that, because when you think about the bowl games, there's so much money invested in these companies for these bowl games. You have low attendance. You have low viewership. Every game prior to probably the 30th, 31st, I mean, there are maybe 2 actual good games in that span. New Year's Day was by far the best day of football, especially since Iowa got their butt whooped. That was the worst game.
That was one of the worst.
On New Year's Day.
But might be one of the worst bowl games.
For us Husker fans, it was one of the best games. But it was just overall a horrible game and a horrible showing for the Hawkeyes. And so you look at what you get the rest of the year in bowl games, starting on the 16th is when they started?
18th or something like that.
16th, 18th, around there. So you have a whole 2 weeks, almost 3 weeks of games, and what are you really getting out of it as a sponsor? You're not getting people watching. You're not making money. You got to be losing money with all the gear that you give these players. I mean, and think of like your Adidas, your Under Armour, and Nike. They're giving these players shoes, backpacks, clothes, all these hats. I mean, not just one pair of shoes. They're giving them game day
PS5s
cleats
and stuff like that.
Yeah, they're getting all these awesome stuff from these vendors. They got to be losing money on these events. Why would you continue to sponsor a bowl game if you're not going to make money on it?
I mean, they probably get money on it from TV contracts, but as far as attendance goes, I know I was watching, Wisconsin maybe, or even the Iowa. I mean, there was Iowa and Tennessee fans there, but I'm like, man, if this is a Nebraska game, that place would be packed. If it was a Nebraska bowl game, I mean, even if it was a freaking Pinstripe Bowl in New York City when it's cold.
Yeah. I mean, and Blake, that's a good point. A tax write-off.
Bronx,
Well, think about it. Like, and I started thinking about it this year, and we've talked about it before too, about bowl games. You think about a 6-win team. You go 500 on a season. Do you really deserve to play another game? Like, is that deserving of an extra game?
Well, and are you really that excited to play it?
Yeah, and that's what I think, like, bowl games.
Aside from maybe going to the Bahamas Bowl or something like that where you can travel somewhere cool.
There's a
lot of free stuff cool, but
there's one game.
A lot of free stuff.
There's a 1 game difference between 6-6 and 7-5. But when you hear 6-6, you're like, that wasn't a good season. 7-5, like, that's a little bit better.
Yeah, you had maybe a game or two that you could have been 8-4, 9-3.
It's a big difference. And so should 8-4 be the window to actually make them meaningful games? I actually think that is maybe what should be explored, is do anybody who had 8 wins or more, here's your bowl games. And then from there, here's all of our sponsors that want to be a part of that bowl game.
Yeah. All
right, what are you doing? What are you going to hand out? Then you're talking about TV sponsorships. You're talking about everything. All right, so who's?
It'll probably things will probably change. I would think. Yeah. I don't know.
You're basically trying to win it at that point.
Because I didn't. There wasn't. I mean, I did a bowl pick'em with the fam. That's just bragging rights mostly.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't watch a bunch unless it was like. I roll a second TV upstairs. I do.
Oh, yeah.
So sometimes I had 2 games going, and then sometimes maybe I had a game on the small TV while we were watching something else. But not until New Year's Day did I really care.
Yeah.
I mean, it was nice to have some football on like Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, NFL included, but I didn't really seem to care.
And I will say New Year's Day, probably one of the best games that day, even outside of the 4 playoff teams.
Okay.
Wisconsin LSU.
That's what I mean.
Started off.
And the attendance was not great. That's what I'm saying.
But started off kind of slow. That was a great game, though. I thoroughly enjoyed it. At the beginning, I'm like, man, this game kind of sucks.
See, I turned it on at the right time because when I turned it on, it was the best game up until those last 2. But I got to watch that and then the next 2. So it was a great day.
Absolutely. And Mike was sitting and sipping. We're going to have a 2 average guys bowl. Hey.
There you go.
We could have our big logo in the center of the field. How cool would that be?
I like Mike's idea of everybody just getting together and getting torched the night before. We're playing you tomorrow. We're
going to play some flip cup.
Let's just party it up. We'll flip cup for
maybe a little beer, maybe a little beer pong.
Yeah.
See who wins. That'd be kind of fun. But hey, can you imagine
That'd be fun.
Jimmy and I in the booth? Brian's on the field with a big ass Fox Sports cameras looking around on the field doing our video camera.
We got Mike on the sideline.
Mike and Brevin on the sidelines, one for each team. Oh my God, can you imagine? Let's make it happen. That'd be insane. Oh my gosh. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how the bowl games change. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with a 12-team playoff and if it's successful. We talked about 6 or 8 teams. Like, what does that look like? You have your conference champs. But I think what screwed all that up more than anything else, I don't think they were not thinking about 6 or 8 teams. I think what screwed it up was all the conference realignment. Which I'm sure that's been in the works for a long time, not just, hey, we're just hearing about it now. So that the committee knew about that. Otherwise, going to a 6 or 8 game playoff probably made more sense. But
I've always said 8, but 12 makes it a little bit more fun, I guess. A couple more games, teams get buys, whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It'd be a lot more fun if we compete for it, like if we're right there in the conversation. Within a year or 2.
Yeah.
A couple years, whatever you want to say. Next year, sure.
Yeah. Patrick, we're going to get to your question. Don't worry. Tony, look forward to the Mayo Bowl. Yeah, you got your Mayo bath. Cheez-It Bowl. Yeah, that Cheez-It mascot was hilarious. Trying to hand the Cheez-Its over to the Tennessee coach. That was pretty funny. And then the Pop-Tart Bowl. That was fantastic. They put the live Pop-Tart mascot in, and here comes this huge Pop-Tart. That was pretty fun. But yeah, so I think, let's talk about. Well, sorry. Here.
Sorry, we got
first of all. Here we go.
All right.
Where are we gonna play a bowl game if 2 average guys hosted it?
Jimmy's basement.
Jimmy's basement. Yeah, Jimmy's backyard. We're gonna do a little.
That might hurt.
3-on-3.
Might be a little muddy.
Go a little 3-on-3. That's a good question. I don't know. I would say maybe. Man, I'd go north though. Let's have some fun in the snow. Maybe cold weather. Maybe we go to.
Well, I'd say North Dakota State, but that's a dome.
Yeah, I mean, you could do outside of Memorial. I'd say maybe Jackrabbit Stadium. You could probably do that.
They'd have some fans there too. That'd be fun. There'd be a lot of Nebraska fans.
Montana, and Wyoming.
Yeah. See, I'd go to Montana because I've never been, and it'd be cold, but it'd be cool.
Hey, it'd be kind of fun. You could have some snow, make it a lot more fun. All right, let's get to Patrick's question. So let's hit on Nebraska. So talked enough about the bowl games.
Yeah.
We'll get to the playoff, the championship game here in a second. But let's talk real quick about Nebraska and kind of what they've been doing lately. So we got Raiola in there.
Yes.
Raiola's our starter. Raiola's going to be our quarterback. And we'll get to this here in a little bit too. But now there's talks of Tagovailoa potentially looking at Nebraska. Would that be a landing spot for him as a grad transfer? Would that be a landing spot?
So he has to apply for a waiver, though, right?
So has to apply and get approved for a waiver because this will be a second transfer.
Oh, that's right. When I said Bama the other day, I wasn't even thinking he went there already.
Yeah.
I just assumed he was maybe going to the SEC, but
I still think, without a doubt, Raiola's our number one. Right now,
Yeah,
I don't see us. I just don't know us going after a portal quarterback. I don't know if we're going to do that. I really don't.
It's tough because
you got a 5-star. You got a 5-star quarterback coming in.
Yeah.
You paid him a buttload of money, $2.5, $3 million, whatever that number was. You're not bringing him in to sit for a year. You can't do that.
I agree.
Because can you afford a portal quarterback and keep him on the bench?
With the way that he's moved around, transferred high schools, if he comes in, I mean, unless he says, I'm okay with this. Even if he does, I mean, by the time the season rolls around and gets into games and he's not playing, he might change his mind.
Exactly.
So you have to.
Yeah. I don't think there's a reason that we brought him here to sit. We
Right.
didn't pay for him to come and sit. He's going to be our starting quarterback. Yes,
And
or he's gone.
That
Donnie.
can present
Exactly.
a challenge as far as bringing a portal quarterback in, because if it's the guy's last chance, I mean, like a Purdy didn't want to stay because, I mean, even though I thought it might work out, but that would have been probably best case scenario.
Yeah.
Now you're trying to find somebody like a Purdy.
Yeah.
But are they really going to want to come?
Yeah,
they're going to want to go maybe to a Group of 5 school that they can play.
Yeah, you're not going to bring a grad transfer in to sit.
No.
Which is why I was kind of hoping the Casey Thompson rumors were true.
I know,
To
same.
where he could at least be a mentor
And if he
to
had
our
to
young
play,
QBs.
if he had to play, he's played.
Yeah, plenty of games. Yeah.
Yeah, he's played in the stadium. And
But I think there's no doubt Raiola's our starter. To Patrick's question, asking about, we're getting all these players. That's fantastic. We're getting Nair,
Right.
Isaiah Nair from Texas. Now, the
Wyoming
hiccup,
/Texas.
Yeah, the hiccup with him is he only played one game this last year because of injury the prior year, which I think could be a good thing. He's got plenty of rest now. Hopefully his injury is healed up. He's ready to go. He's a big body wide receiver who, for a new quarterback, he's also going to be probably a mentor to and going to be able to help him in the pass game and routes and all that stuff. I think he's going to be a really good guy for the team.
Yeah.
It's from
Yeah, I mean, statistically, we'll see, but as a statistical standpoint, but
yeah, I mean,
sorry, but no, as like a mentor to maybe even some of those younger receivers too.
Yeah.
Even though they've been on the roster here.
Yeah.
They might have to teach him something, but he might be teaching them, multiple different things.
Yeah.
Both ways.
well, and I
So-
thought one of the biggest things that our young guys are going to learn is route running.
Mm-hmm.
That is something that, as someone who never played football, I can only imagine the route running, the timing of your routes. You watch some of these guys, they're turning and the ball is about to hit their hands. Learning to run those type of routes to where you're effective on the field and you make a difference and you're scary, that's what bringing a guy like Nair is going to help do for this team.
Mm-hmm.
And then you think about potential of Banks coming in
Right.
from Wake Forest, also a big opportunity for this team, big body wide receiver who, with a young quarterback, young wide receiver core, can really boost this team's energy.
Yeah, tall, big guys,
Yeah.
experience for sure.
Now, Patrick asked about the O-line. And Patrick, I'm going to hit on this because we've talked about this a lot this year, this season. I feel like our offensive line improved tremendously this last year from a discipline standpoint. Penalty, everything. Discipline was by far the best thing they did this last year, an improvement. Less holdings. They had less false starts. Everything was just less and less.
Snap issues.
Now, run protection needs to be better, but their pass protection was actually really good. The problem is we didn't have
throw.
Well, not only that, we didn't have a quarterback who knew how to stay in the pocket. We didn't have a pocket passer. Raiola is a passer. He can stay in the pocket. He can run, but he's going to be able to stay in the pocket longer and willing to take that hit, unlike your Harburgs, your Purdy's, and Sims, who your first instinct is it starts to collapse a little bit, you got to go.
Mm-hmm.
You get better route running, better wide receivers, and our pass protection, I think it's only going to improve.
Right, especially with guys coming in. I don't know how many of those guys will play.
But guys coming back.
And guys coming back that with experience.
And I think
sure.
as much as people gave Raiola crap on the offensive line, look what he's done just from after this last year.
Yeah, I mean,
improvement.
I thought it was kind of curious that he was the only one that was kept on the staff. And then it was, well, maybe they're trying to get Dylan, and then it didn't work out. And then it was like, well, why did we keep this guy? And then I thought they were better. And then we get Dylan. And then we got some guys, and two of them played in that All-American game yesterday, and they looked pretty good.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't know if either one of those guys will play right away, Bricks or Pyle, but they both looked big and good yesterday.
Yep. And
From what I saw.
Yeah, and Patrick, to your point, yeah, we had three or four guys get injured on the offensive line. We get our backups come in. Our backups
Some guys were almost better.
and they had playing experience. They weren't guys that had never seen the field before. So coach evaluation blows. I think also with first year coaches, you're probably right. I don't think they did a great job of evaluating who should start and who shouldn't. And we saw that early on in the season. It's like, why are you playing? Corcoran is awful. He started off really bad at the beginning of the season. Piper, awful. So what are we doing to fix it? And we didn't fix it, so they got hurt. And honestly, that may have been the best thing that happened, Patrick, is that they got hurt to really help our offensive line. But even in that instance, I still don't think their pass protection was bad. It wasn't great. No one on the offensive line was great. No one on the offensive line was great. They were better, though.
Yeah.
And that is something that a key takeaway is that they were better. They don't have to be great. We don't need greatness. We do. Just not.
We strive.
When we're looking for what we had the previous year, we needed improvement, and we saw improvement. Now we have discipline. We had better pass protection. Let's get run protection.
We just need to kind of get it all together because, quarterback play was not very great with the offensive line being a little better.
Yeah.
Or at least improved. Last year, quarterback play was pretty decent for the most part. They just didn't really have any time.
Yeah.
So, and it's always one way or the other.
Yeah, and yes, Raiola wasn't his second year, and that's what I'm saying. Like his first year, I don't think he did great. Second year, we saw more discipline. We saw better pass protection. Run protection wasn't great. We didn't open up a lot of holes.
Right.
But the goal this year, get bigger, stronger, faster, and start to open up some of those holes for our newest running back.
Yes, our newest running back.
Dante Dowdle. Mr. Oregon.
Yes. He was top 10 running back in his class last year, in class of 2023. Fell in the depth chart, I guess, at Oregon.
Yeah. Which, man, that's Oregon team is stacked anyways.
Yeah, and that's what we're going to be seeing. And we're fortunate enough to get a guy like this. And hopefully we continue to kind of pursue guys like this over the next couple of years.
Yeah.
Because, we have. We tried to get McCord and we tried to
Fleming.
get all kinds of different guys. And so to land one, a running back. The running back room, I think, is pretty deep. But you never know. Grant left.
He had to. So Grant, for those who didn't know, Grant didn't get a waiver to play.
Oh, okay.
So he applied for a waiver
right.
to be able to play for another year, but they denied it. So he had to go to the draft, which he's fast enough. He's got a lot of skill. He could maybe do some special teams before he gets a chance.
Drafted,
but
you never know.
I do think obviously Ramir, Gabe Irvin, those two guys coming back from injury.
Emma Johnson.
Yeah, Emma Johnson.
And then
Fleeks. No, Fleeks is gone. I keep on thinking Fleeks is coming back, but he's gone.
Ives,
yes, Quentin Ives.
So,
we have a lot of guys back there that can do a lot of stuff for us. So I think this coaching staff has done a great job of building up this team and realizing where the gaps are. Wide receiver was a gap. Running back, we got our defense is, to me, just stacked still.
yeah, and I know we're trying to get a couple linebackers.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, Gabe Irvin, unfortunately, is an injury machine, and it sucks.
Because he was looking like the Hulk before the season started. You could say he was so amped up and ready to get back in.
Yep.
I want to say he looked pretty good right out of the gate to start the season.
But I'm also not worried because, again, Ramir's back there. We also have Emmett Johnson who showed what he can do. Mm-hmm. Then you power that with Dowdle too. I think we're going to be fine.
Yeah.
And I'm excited. Again, you talk about drinking the Kool-Aid. I think, Ross, you might have said that, or the Rule-Aid, if you will.
Rule-Aid.
I try so hard not to, but from what the staff has done in this signing period and what they're trying to do and continue to try to do to set up this team for success in year 2 has me so freaking excited.
And did you see the what's his name that they might be bringing in as some type of
Holgerson?
Yeah.
So here's the thing, Satterfield. So Ross, not sold on Satterfield. I don't think anyone's sold on Satterfield. I really don't. But here's what Dan Holgerson can bring you. He's been an offensive coordinator. He's been a QB coach, and a good one. Remember when he was at West Virginia?
Yeah. He's at Oklahoma State as an offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
They were good.
Absolutely. So does he come in as an offensive coordinator or QB coach? I don't know what he'd be better at, but either way. Yeah, well, and what is Satterfield better at? Or you do a co. Hey, we're going to do this together.
You're
I don't know how
quarterback
that works.
coach and co-offensive coordinator.
Yeah, and how does that work with Satterfield? Now,
I don't care if it hurts his feelings.
No. I mean,
No,
like,
I know.
how do they work together?
Yeah, no, I got you.
So here's what I don't know about Satterfield. I don't know a whole lot about what he did at South Carolina. A lot of South Carolina fans didn't like him.
Right.
What I know is what he did last year. I didn't like his play calling. But one thing I started to kind of sit back and look into is Satterfield had 3 quarterbacks who were running machines.
Right.
At first, we didn't think Purdy was much of a passer, and he ran a lot more than I thought he was going to.
So many guys get injured. I mean, you're talking 2 running backs, 2 or 3 wide receivers, quarterbacks, offensive linemen. So I get it. And one thing to think about too is, when I always think of this, when Mike Riley came in to Nebraska, we had Tommy Armstrong.
Yeah.
And what did we do? We decided to play 500 and throw the ball 50 times a game.
Yep.
And that was not what Tommy Armstrong, that was not his strength.
No.
So the next year, they kind of changed the way they wanted to do things.
Yep.
And guess what? We won 9 games that year. We're ranked in the top 10.
Yeah.
So I don't know if Satterfield kind of had to adjust the way he originally wanted to do things or was trying to stick to what he normally does. Whatever it was, this year, maybe he can try to stick to what he actually wants to do.
Yeah.
Or maybe we have more personnel to what he wants to do. And that could have been the same year with year 2 of Riley was
very true.
They had more personnel to what they actually wanted to do.
Yeah, well, and think about when they came on as a staffing unit. They had a very short amount of time for the signing period to recruit. That doesn't give you a whole lot of time. Yes, there are coaches who do very well in that situation.
And you only get so much time with the players. You only get so much practice time.
Yes.
Yeah, you can do and have plans and organization for everything, but you only get so much.
Yes. And so did he just work with what he could? I don't know. I still, again, weary about his play calling, weary about him.
Oh, definitely. I'm not trying to say that he's an amazing offensive coordinator by any means. I'm just saying.
But you bring in a guy like Holgerson as either a QB coach or an offensive coordinator. That could boost your offense. He has a lot of experience, and he's been successful as both. That could be really good for your guys like Raiola and Kalen on the roster, and Harburg. Harburg's in the picture still, guys. Like, we can't forget about him. He is still 100% in the picture. He may not be 100% a quarterback this next year.
I mean, he could
do a lot.
He could be one play away from, taking snaps at quarterback. I mean, I can't imagine that if Royola's 1, that Kalen's going to be, I don't know. He could be 2.
I doubt it.
I doubt it too.
No.
Because ideally, you'd probably want him to redshirt.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Ideally, you want him to redshirt.
So,
I don't know. It's going to be really interesting.
And that's why, like you're talking about with the transfer, like bringing in a portal quarterback. Like, but how do you sell that to them? And again, you're going to be behind the number 1 quarterback recruit. You're one play away from playing. Whether it's injury or he starts struggling, he could play.
But again, Harburg's not leaving.
I don't think so.
Harburg's a Nebraska kid. He's 100% dedicated to playing and staying with this team. I don't think he's going to
positions for him. Yeah, change positions.
Exactly. So
why not?
Ross, insider you talked to, said they're bringing him in for QB coach, co-offense. Yeah, so kind of what we've been talking about. Yeah. I think if he's...
We know what we're talking about.
we try. I think if his main focus, if you're talking about us, Ross, yes, we've been talking about this. But no, I think if our main focus is to have him focus on a QB coach and co-offense, I think that'd be a huge win for Nebraska. And again, you are talking about a staff that is making changes, and to me, drastic changes. I mean, these are not like little tiny changes from year 1 to year 2. We're bringing in 4- and 5-star guys on this roster to help boost the offense. They're doing what the team needs to be successful. They're doing what Riley didn't do. They're doing what Scott Frost in the era of the portal that started did not do to help, or couldn't do, whatever, to help this team be successful. And that's what gets me so amped up and excited about this team. Yes, it's still all about potential. It is still all about what are they going to do on the field.
Yeah.
I understand everybody that makes that comment of I'll see it when I believe it. I'll see it when they get on the field, and before I get excited about it. I'm not that kind of person. I'm excited about it based on the potential and based on what some of these guys were showing on film.
Right.
I don't care, and I know I'm going to probably backtrack on what I've said before, but 4 or 5 stars out of high school, going into college, you're probably still a damn good football player. Whether you're a
Being
backup
able to
or not.
play right away.
Whether you're a backup or not. So I am excited, and I think this team next year is going to leap ahead of what – and all these experts out there, including us, are saying that this team has a really good chance to not just go 6-0, but also shock the world this next year. We're going to shock the damn world, Jim.
Okay.
Nebraska, we're not back. Don't get me wrong, I'm not texting. We are not back. But we are going to be better. We're going to go to a bowl game. And we have a really good chance to win 7 to 8 games next year. I know I've said that before. But this is probably one year I feel better about it than I ever have before.
Yeah. I'm excited that we're not starting the season with a Big Ten West opponent. Granted, every Big Ten West team we've played to start the year, we should have beaten. I mean, we should have beaten Minnesota last year. We should have beaten Illinois when we started them. What do we got?
Patrick's point. Game management.
That's true.
Game management. But that goes to your point. Some of those games that we lost were because of poor clock management.
Right.
And just in general game management, not even just the clock.
Sims throws an interception in the end zone in the first half.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll get points there.
Some of the play calling in the red zone or getting a field goal instead of trying for it on 4th down. So 100% Patrick.
Yeah.
And Patrick, I love that you're joining the show today because sometimes people need to bring us down a notch when we're so excited about things and really take a step back and say these are the things we still need to work on.
When Matt is excited is what he means.
I'm also excited because the Cowboys are up 38-10 and they're going to be the number 2 seed and they're going to it is.
The Bucks are hosting.
But yeah.
Anyway, let's
timeouts, game management, clock management, all those things should be and will be hopefully looked at, can't guarantee they're looked at, they should be looked at in the offseason and say, how do we manage this game in this loss? Or even in the wins, how do we manage this game to where we could have done things differently?
Yeah.
Again, all we need was one more win.
Yeah.
And we shit the bed.
Well, and so what I was going to say here was to start the season off, not against a Big Ten team or, whatever.
UTEP.
Just to hopefully kind of gain some momentum because I feel like the last couple seasons, whether it was the media or whatever, there was so much pressure on that first game. It was like they have to win in Ireland against Northwestern. They have to win against Minnesota. It's Rule's first game. It's a Big Ten West opponent.
If you don't win now,
win,
sets the tone.
Then, yes, exactly.
Yep.
And now let's just not even worry about that. Let's just freaking blow their doors off to start the season and get the young kids' feet wet, get momentum going, and just go from there.
Yeah, and again, we have every opportunity this next year to start 6-0.
Yeah.
There's really no reason we shouldn't. So, so Patrick, I love it because, again, you got to take me down a notch. Take me down a notch, bonk me on the head and say, dude, take the wheels off. I'm not going to, but I'm not going to say you're wrong because you're 100% correct. I love it.
When predictions before next season start, we'll see.
Shut up. No,
we'll see where you go with that.
We all know. I already said 6-0 we're starting, so I'm not going to change that. But man, I feel like this Rule has Nebraska trending in the right direction.
Yeah.
You cannot say over the last after Riley's second year, yes.
But even then,
starting
those wins, I mean, we were barely squeaking out wins against teams we should have beat pretty good. So.
But barely squeaking out wins is something we haven't been able to do in a long time.
Since then.
Yes. So.
That was the last year we went to a bowl.
After that, 2016 season, we haven't been trending in the right direction since then. So the fact that Nebraska is getting, again, a lot of media attention because of what Rule and his staff are doing is not necessarily a bad thing, is do we produce on the field? Can we take it to the field and be successful?
Yes. Because they're doing everything right, but we need to do it on the field. So, yeah, I mean, we've gotten some guys in. Obviously, Royola, a bit of a one-off because his dad played here. So, I mean, do we get him if his dad didn't play here? No.
If his uncle's not the O-line coach, says, I'm going to protect your ass, do we get him?
No.
Maybe not.
But we still got him. So, we gotta roll with it that way. But you start getting some other guys. Then you start getting some wins. Then you know.
Yeah.
You get the transfers that come in, or even the young 4 or 5 stars that come in, and that starts to trickle a little bit. And then, I mean, it's already happening.
Yeah.
I mean, you got guys like Bricks that came here. You got guys, and I know that he is somewhat local, within a half hour, 45 minutes.
Yeah.
But I mean, then you start getting kids from Texas.
But Miami, like what do we talk? We barely talked about McGahee Jr., but as a jack, that guy's going to be awesome. But we've talked about it on the last show that we did a few weeks ago before Christmas. We have Dylan Raiola. You get a 5-star quarterback. Where was he last week when Nebraska basketball was playing Indiana at PBA?
He was there.
He was there. And then who comes in town? These recruits come in town. Nayer's in town. Dowdle's in town.
Taking pics with them.
Taking pictures, man. Some of those, that pic with Dowdle was badass.
He was like 10 feet in the air.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure, I think I said it to you and Brian and said, I think he's going to commit. Like, it looked to me like he's going to commit based off his picture. That. And then he did. He committed that night. And so I think you have Raiola still, the players are also helping coaches recruit. And that's what a 5-star does.
Yeah.
That's what Nayer is going to do. Now, you have Banks following Dowdle and Nayer and other guys on the offense.
Yeah.
That's all it takes. It's a ripple effect in college football, and it's kind of like if you think about NHL. If you guys that watch NHL, these guys know each other, and a lot of them have known each other for years because they played each other in juniors. They played each other in the World Juniors. They played each other in the Stanley Cup.
Shout out to the U.S. winning the World Juniors, by the way.
Absolutely, but they played each other for so many years. They know each other. These football players have connections where they reach out, they're going to get a response. You're a 5-star quarterback, reach out to wide receiver who's in the portal, that wide receiver is going to listen.
Especially because they've probably been at camps together. I mean, they go to camps.
Yeah,
there's camps all over the place.
That's a good point. Camps.
Or they've been at recruiting visits at other schools.
Yes.
At the same time. And, hey, we kind of buddied up there.
Yeah.
We've been kind of saying, where are you thinking about going? Maybe we go to the same place since we already have a friendship.
Yeah. And so
feel more comfortable going to the same place.
Yo, I'm going to send you a text. I'm going to reach out to you. I'm going to follow you on Instagram. I'm going to do this. And what I love about Husker fans is they follow everything that happens on anybody that's on your radar. They will know if that person's following somebody on Husker Twitter, on Husker Instagram. They will screenshot it. They'll be like, hey, look at this. They will do all of that. And it cracks me up because I'm like, I don't got the time for that. I really don't, but I love it.
Follow as much as I can, I guess.
Yeah, it just cracks me up. I'm like, man, I wish I had the time to do that. But again, I'm really impressed with the recruiting right now. Again, this is probably one of the best classes we've had. I think with the transfer portal guys, I think our ranking and recruiting, all that stuff's going to only go up. But,
last I checked, it didn't have an updated version of after the commit last night.
True. So we'll see. But, yeah, Ross, to your point, yeah, absolutely. Developmental coach. Rule is a developmental coach. It was hard in his first year. Again, coming back from the NFL to college, but there's some differences going on there. But I do feel like we're going to see, again, year 1 to year 2 in Rule's history in college football, we're in the right spot. Yeah. And actually, we're probably in a better spot than what we've seen in the past.
We won more games than he did normally.
Yeah, usually 1 to 2 wins. We got 5.
Yeah.
So, again, should have had 7, 8, but, it is what it is.
You got to win them on the field.
Yes. So, it'd be interesting to see what we do with the guys that we have and how we boost our offense. Our defense, again, I'm not worried about our defense. Our defense is stacked, and a guy like Willis McGahee Jr., he picked Nebraska because he has the potential to be that jack, and that's what he wants to do.
And he can play that in the NFL.
Yes. He talked about his NFL.
Yeah.
He's like, you're talking about a team that plays, you don't see that defense, the 3-3-5, very often in college. He wants to do that because he knows he can do it in the NFL. He talked about it. Mm-hmm. And he's a guy that absolutely can go to the NFL based on, 1, his name, but 2,
His dad.
He's going to have the potential.
Yeah,
he's gonna get the playing time in that
You
position.
said his name, I guess.
But yeah, so again, I'm just excited. I'm very excited about where we're gonna go, what we're gonna do, and again, we got to put it on the field though.
Where are we gonna go?
Where are we gonna go?
You said you're excited about where we're gonna go.
Oh, we're going to USC. We're going to USC, baby. We're going. Hey, have you guys heard? No, you didn't know this? Oh, we're going to USC, baby. We reached out.
I mean, the plan, I guess, would be to hopefully go to USC.
Here's the idea. Luis, we're going to get your question in a second. Here's the deal. So we talked about it after our last live show, actually at the volleyball championship game, about how cool it would be to welcome our Big Ten foes now in USC, a team that really hasn't been that good in about 15 years. Welcome them to the Big Ten by going to California for the game. How fun would that be? Two average guys on the sideline. Two average guys interviewing USC fans. Two average guys tailgating with USC and Nebraska fans. Two average guys just having a blast out in California.
We don't necessarily have to be on the sideline, but in the stadium would be fine.
Sideline, well, it would be fun either way. Press conference, doing a press conference. I mean, it's going to be something that we're looking into. We may or may not have already reached out to Trev Alberts. We may have not already heard back from Trev Alberts or not and his crew. But there's opportunity for us to get media credentials and be on the sideline for the USC game. I'm just saying. And we may or may not be doing a fundraiser to help get us there. So stay tuned.
Yeah.
We still have to work
help some brothers out.
It's not till like November 16th, so we got some time. But we are thinking about it and like hardcore thinking about going. And let me just tell you, my wife's pretty excited because I told her if we go, she gets to go too. So, just saying. The bus trip, yes. I'm pretty sure you said this last time, Percival.
Yes, dude, we should.
Oh my God, man, can you imagine? All right,
that would be a memorable trip for a lifetime, probably.
Yep. So, Luis, you asked about transfer portal guys. Does this mean other players
get cut?
It does.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how that works.
Here's what you
scholarship wise. I don't know if they say, hey, we're going to pull your scholarship. You can walk on. We think you might be able to earn your scholarship back next year.
Yeah.
You might want to see. I mean, I'd say more than likely they say you might want to seek another opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They've got to find kids that are probably not going to be, 3-4 deep, whatever, 4 or 5 deep.
Look at Purdy. They probably told him, listen, Raiola is going to be a starter. I hope coaches are honest with the kids. And Kyle McCord, he transfers to Syracuse. He was one of the best quarterbacks in the Big Ten. He transferred to Syracuse. And you know what he said? He said, listen, I had a conversation with the coaches. They wanted to go a different direction. And if I'm not going to be the guy, I'm not going to stay there. And that's fine. And that's what coaches should be honest, which I'm amazed he's not the guy for them considering what he just did. But, it's interesting. And a quick shout out to Big Ten backers. Hey, appreciate you guys being and listening. So I know we got Brandon also with Big Ten backers. They were in LA for the UCLA game. Hey, if we can get out there, man, we'd love to have you guys. And we are going to be doing a show with Big Ten backers this year to talk about Husker football and hopefully other stuff too. I mean, again, I think we're going to be, broadening our horizons a little bit on the Big Ten football conference, kind of like we did in the beginning 10 years ago starting this football season. Yeah. Again, 10-year anniversary coming up. Very excited.
Nebraska's good, and we are, ranked or up there in playoff, playoff talks or a potential, when playoff rankings come out, if we're in there. Mm-hmm. It makes it a lot more fun to talk about, well, we want this to happen in this game, and oh, shoot, this team just beat this team, so now we need this to happen. That's what we did for the first couple of years.
Yeah.
So
it's going to be interesting. See, and again, this is a good point, about McCord not wanting competition. Well, of course he doesn't. I mean, look at the guy that goes 11-1, and his only loss is to Michigan.
He's playing the championship tomorrow.
A team who they haven't beaten 3 years now.
Right.
And so, he's getting some criticism, but again, he's still 11-1 at Ohio State. Apparently that wasn't good enough.
Well, and they bring in Will Howard, who, statistically their numbers are pretty similar, minus Howard can run. So, I don't know.
Yeah, but how do running quarterbacks do in the Big Ten?
Yeah, I mean, not
If they hold on the ball, maybe better than our running
don't
quarterbacks.
get hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I mean, we'll see what Ohio State does. Damn, San Francisco lost today.
They did.
Cowboys won.
Bucks won. They're in.
Giants beat
Niners are already
the
number
Giants
one
beat the
seed.
Eagles. Look at that.
Rams are in. Wow.
Sorry. Anyways, off topic. But it's going to be a really interesting season again. Not just with the Huskers, but I think the Big Ten overall with the expansion, with new teams coming in. It's going to be really interesting to see what they do. Howard at Ohio State threw more picks this last year than McCord did.
Yeah, I mean, for sure.
You know, in Big Ten, 6 more interceptions. That's big. 6 more interceptions in the season. Look at our quarterbacks. If we threw 6, fumbled it 6 less times, we probably got 3 more wins, right?
That's true.
It's a big difference in the game.
Yeah.
I'd take 11-1 all day, Edwin, if it wasn't Iowa. And we're not going to talk about Iowa today. We don't got time for Iowa, but no one should take time to talk about Iowa, even though we probably will at some point throughout the season, especially with Big Ten backers, because we got to find an Iowa guy there, and we know some Iowa fans too. We're willing to talk crap about them too, but it's just all fun and games. College football fans, it's all it's about. But anyway, so I'm really excited. Sims should have been either on a turnover commercial for Panera or on a Butterfinger commercial for Nestle. So, I'm very curious. So let's talk about the championship game.
Yeah.
We got about 15 minutes left, maybe 11 minutes ish, whatever. We can keep going. We can go all day. But let's talk about the championship game. We got Michigan, and we have Washington.
Yes.
This is what everyone probably thought was going to happen. Actually, a lot of people thought Bama was going to beat Michigan.
They're 1-2, so it's the easy pick. But
Yeah.
I thought it'd be that way, even though it could have been just as easy the other way. So
BCS simulation had those two playing for the championship game too. Just throwing it out there. Who do you think is going to win? Who do you think has the upper hand?
So Michigan dominated that first half against Alabama for the most part. They just not on the scoreboard.
Not on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, right. I mean, early maybe a little bit, but they had the fumble on the punt, and the score didn't really show exactly how that first half went. And then
they made more
Alabama
mistakes.
Made adjustments, and then I thought they were going to win the game. The way Washington can move the ball, the way Penix is, they're a little scary offensively. Michigan's a lot of big boys up front. Michigan can wear down that Washington defense. That Washington defense, not so good. If you saw what Texas did, especially after Matt said horns down, it's over, and then Texas just about came back and won that game.
Yeah, Washington effed that up.
They did. I think it's going to be a pretty good game. I think Penix could potentially win the game for Washington, but if I go with my gut, I'm going to say Michigan's going to win.
So here's what I'm very interested in seeing. So when I watched a few different Washington games this year throughout the season. Penix, not only can he hit a wide receiver in stride, drop it in the breadbasket, but he's got wide receivers that catch everything thrown to them.
Yeah.
He has a handful of wide receivers
They have 2 stars.
that are damn good. And I think those guys are going to make a big difference in the game. Mm-hmm. It's just going to be so interesting because, again, you got Pac-12, Big Ten, different styles of football. Mm-hmm. Pac-12 puts up a lot of points. Big Ten football, you generally see a low-scoring game. So we talked about when you get these teams like UCLA and Washington and USC coming to the Big Ten, what's that going to look like? Yeah. They think they're going to come in, like Scott Frost said, and you're going to have to adjust to us. I'm sorry, I don't think that's going to be the case. Because you're going to have to adjust your gameplay to the defense you're going to see in the Big Ten and the cold weather in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
So
if you can score fast, that's great, but then you're putting your defense on the field a lot longer.
Yep.
So
because also a lot of offenses in the Big Ten will wear your defense down by marching down the field on a 14-play drive. Mm-hmm. You don't see that in the Pac-12.
No, not
you see
really.
Maybe 6-7 play drives because they go
swing
deep.
passes and deep balls, and then a few runs sprinkled in.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really interested. I think it's going to come down.
It's going to be a good game.
It's going to come down to the Michigan, I think, defensive line more than anything else.
And they got a lot of sacks in that first half against Alabama. Penix gets
5
it
or
out
6.
quick, though. He gets it out quick.
He releases it quick.
So
He's not very fast, but he can run. He's just not very fast. And he's an opportunistic runner. He's not going to run if he doesn't have to.
I would say it's going to be more on Michigan's secondary, linebackers and secondary. If they do little out passes or quick plays here and there and the deep balls, how are they going to be at that second level? Are they going to be able to stop them for a 3 to 5 yard gain instead of letting them get a first down on 3rd and 8? Are they going to be able to stop those long deep passes? I think it's going to be a really good game. I'm excited.
I think it is too. This might be one of the most anticipated college football championship games in a very long time.
Yeah, I mean,
especially since 2014, which is the very first.
Ratings-wise, probably would have been better if it was Texas and Alabama or Michigan and
I don't know. I agree with that.
Michigan and Texas. Maybe not.
That's what I thought. They talked about with Florida State ratings and all that stuff. And we talked about it. I really don't know if that's true. I really think.
I mean, I don't really care because I'm going to watch the game anyway. I think it's going to be a great game.
As college football fans, getting parity and different teams in the spotlight to have potential to be a champion. You don't want to see the same damn thing over and over again unless you're a Nebraska fan and it's your team. But, again, your team, Alabama fans want to see that.
It's been Alabama and Georgia.
Outside of Alabama and Georgia, who wants to see the same teams winning over again? And who the hell wants Texas? There's no one outside the state of Texas or outside of Austin that, unless they went to UT Austin and they are a Longhorn fan, nobody wants them to win. Nobody. There's not a single team. If you cheer for a college football team, Texas is not a team you're ever going to cheer for, especially in a championship game. I would cheer for Bama over Texas.
Same.
Absolutely. So, yes, Texas bullshit out of your mouth. You're right, Ross. And, man, when Texas got that 1 second back on the clock, although it was the right thing to do, unlike the Big Ten championship or Big 12 championship, it was the right thing to do. I'm like, oh, my God, I'm like, Texas is going to win.
Well, when it went out, I go, there's a second. This is the biggest deja vu.
Unbelievable.
And I literally thought that they were going to throw a touchdown pass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
thankfully they did not.
But I think having a different team have an opportunity to win a championship is good for college football, and I think the ratings are not going to hurt because of that.
Yeah. Well, and just going back to that Texas and Washington game briefly. Man, the series of events that led up to giving Texas that opportunity at the end was just insane. I mean, you talk about, I said it before you texted. I said, why are you throwing the ball on 3rd down?
Yes.
You're going to kick a field goal anyway.
Yes.
Just run it, make them use their timeout.
So they have one left.
And then kick the field goal. Then,
Incomplete pass.
Incomplete pass, field goal. Texas gets the field goal because they went pretty quick.
Yep.
And then onside kick, you're like, okay, it's over. And then that kid gets hurt, and you're like, okay, well, the clock stopped. Is it going to – and I'm like, uh-oh. They could have some time here.
They got time.
And then it just kept snowballing. I'm like, this is not going the way I want
and
because I almost went to bed.
Yeah.
I really almost did because I was super tired.
And Patrick here, you're talking about game management and clock management. I mean, that is what Washington absolutely screwed up in that game. Mm-hmm. And that's what Nebraska, honestly.
And I like their coach. I think their coach is really good.
But that's what Nebraska's done in the past. They've screwed up
and we would have lost
in that manner, except we lost. Yes. But, I mean, really, ideally, it'd be really interesting to see how this championship game goes tomorrow. Again, it could be one of the better championship games we've seen in a while. I'm excited for it. It is absolutely, Ross, is basically your Big Ten championship. A lot of people thought they'd see a rematch of Texas-Alabama from game 1 of the season in your SEC championship game.
Yeah.
But it's not what we're going to see.
It's Big Ten championship.
But so I'm interested.
Real Big Ten natty.
Okay. We got a few minutes left. We're going to switch here real quick. Nebraska basketball. They beat Indiana at home.
Yeah, it was a great game. I actually watched just about the whole game. K-State was unbelievable. He was hitting from everywhere. I mean, his family was there.
Yeah.
It was really cool. He was just
Raul was there. Yeah.
It
was a big crowd.
He had like 16 points in 5 minutes or something in the second half. It was insane.
I think he finished with 28 points. He had a double-double or something like that.
It was fun. It was a fun game to watch. PBA was rocking.
Yep.
I didn't get the chance to see any of the game yesterday.
I watched some of the game. I mean, Wisconsin was just they're better down low than Nebraska. And that's what really made a difference in that game. 16-point defeat. Again, that to me isn't that bad.
I mean, that was what they beat Indiana by. That's what they want to do is play defense.
Yeah.
And what I read about the game yesterday was Wisconsin was just firing offensively and couldn't miss.
Well, I mean, Chucky's so damn good too. Out of Bellevue West.
He could be
him being at Wisconsin, I mean, that's a huge get for them. And Wisconsin basketball is good. I mean, they are a good team, and it was a big test for Nebraska. Never really thought that was going to be a win for Nebraska, but I watched a decent amount of that game, and I kind of knew like at halftime, like they might make a little bit of a fight. They started to right at the end of the half, but I didn't think they were going to come back, and they didn't. But
they don't play very many road games.
We got Purdue coming up at home on
Purdue.
Tuesday. Number one, Donnie. Purdue sucks. Hopefully we'll win. Let's get people down to the PBA. I know I won't be there, but let's get people down there. And
it's on Peacock, I think, isn't it?
I don't know, something like
I
that.
thought I saw.
Goddamn Peacock.
I mean, I'll watch it because I got Peacock. But
yeah, so basketball.
Yeah, cool.
Hey, they're still 12-2, 12-3. Yeah, I mean th're still having a hell of a good season early on. 2-2 in the conference. So
yeah, they got wins against Indiana and Michigan State. I mean, any season rolling. That you got this many wins, I mean,
keep rolling, baby.
The last however long, I don't know.
Yep.
Keep going.
Yep. Polar Bear.
Yes.
Holy cow! He joins the wrestling team. Nash joins the wrestling team. He was the number one wrestler in the country before joining the Husker football team.
And he undefeated in high school or something.
Yeah, and he joins his first ever wrestling match and freaking pins the guy from Wyoming in the first round, and he swept the leg, which was the best thing ever. He just grabbed one leg and just kicked the other one out from under and just landed on him. Like, imagine having Nash, watching him play football, and then having him land on you in wrestling and pin your ass.
Did he thin down a little bit?
I don't think so.
Okay.
He's huge.
I mean, he's huge, but I thought I saw someone said he thinned down. I just want him to be the same on the football field. So, I mean, it's great.
167-0 overall in wrestling.
Yeah.
Never lost. Ross, thank you. That's amazing.
I just don't want him to get hurt, and I don't want him to lose anything football-wise.
He's our heavyweight, and that dude ain't... If he ever did lose, I don't see him ever getting hurt. That guy's a friggin' beast.
I didn't say anything about him losing. I don't want him to lose either. I just want him to get hurt or lose anything as far as, like, his play on the football field.
Yeah, he's fine. I'm not worried about it at all.
Fine.
I'm not worried about it. I'd be interested to see him and Ty Robinson also wrestle. We met Ty. Ty's a beast. I think he's bigger than Nash.
He was so big.
God.
I could not describe how big he was.
I up there.
He's so tall and so big. I was like, oh my gosh. I know you're big. But to see you this close, it was nuts.
So, what's kind of funny about this show today? Is before the show, Brian's like, all right, we're going to talk about Husker football, Maverick hockey,
I didn't talk much about hockey.
men's basketball. He said women's basketball. I'm like, no, let's not do that. I don't know anything about women's basketball. I cannot. Although I know they're doing.
Talk about the volleyball.
Although I know they're doing pretty good this year.
Yeah.
They
typically do pretty well.
I was like, we could talk about football
I think
for
Amy
like.
Williams is their coach. I think she's pretty good.
Yeah. We could talk about football for 3 hours. But but to kind of wind down here, so again, Nash hopefully keeps the streak going with wrestling. Kind of wind down UNO hockey. Then we'll wrap it up with Husker football. UNO hockey in the Desert Classic, first ever Desert Classic. There's 4 teams in it.
And I mean, Arizona State was the highest ranked team in it, if you will.
Yeah. And they're not a bad team. They're really not.
I mean, UNO got the win against Lowell in overtime on Friday, which is great.
Yep.
I was trying to watch it and I couldn't find it.
They're gonna be
I'm like,
they're gonna be joining.
I finally was like, all right, I can sit down, pull up NCHC TV, and I'm like, where is it? Not there.
Nope.
Because
they're the only NCHC team down there. So, but Arizona State is going to be joining the conference next year, NCHC. So there is actually a really good addition.
I think so too.
I think it's going to be really good. So I'm excited to see what they bring to the conference. But that game last night, I mean, really, I saw majority of the third period. I didn't know they were on the Pac-12 for free. But that game was on the Pac-12.
By the time I read your text, it was over.
And so they had a really good game. Lacosi played amazing. And then they get to overtime, and it's like UNO forgot how to play hockey. They had
is it Olympic sheet down there?
No.
Oh, okay.
Nope. No, Mullet Arena is not an Olympic sheet.
Okay.
3-on-3. Krenzen gets behind the net, and he's got Randall out there, and I can't remember the other guy out there with him. But he's behind the net. Arizona State's pressuring a little bit. They're on Randall and the other UNO player. Krenzen struggles to get it out from behind the net. He comes out behind the net, and instead of going to his left over to Randall, who's wide open, he shoots it up the board, basically just gives Arizona State the puck, and he goes for a change. Arizona State brings it back in the zone, and then they spend some time in there. I think they maybe get a shot, maybe not. They get it out of the zone, and they got 2 guys back, and it's a long change. 3 UNO guys come up. One's about the blue line, and Jimmy Glenn was at the blue line. He wasn't paying attention to the Arizona State guy changing behind him. So they got a breakaway.
Of course they did.
Easy breakaway. Great goal. And after watching them in overtime, they didn't deserve that game. They didn't deserve that win anyways, the way they played in overtime. But they had one really good chance from Ty Mueller early on with a nice backhand chance. He went around the defender, skated right around him, almost like that Mancini goal when he scored in overtime a while back. But really good opportunity. That's the only opportunity they got, though. And so they just weren't aggressive enough.
Coming back from break, they almost had a month off.
Oh, yeah. It's hard.
Get back into conference play, and they've split with all those teams up top. They pretty much split with everybody in the conference.
And they also played at home pretty much the entire first half of the year.
Yeah, they're going to have to win some road games. They won at Denver, which was a good win. But they're going to have to win some games this back half on the road. Hopefully I can make it to a couple of games. And hopefully they get high enough to host the NCHC playoffs and make the tourney. Yeah,
and so their next home series is Denver at home on the 19th and 20th. So if you're in the Omaha area, come check them out.
I think I maybe have tickets for one of those nights, but
nice.
I'll keep posted.
So 19th, 20th. So anyways, Ross, you got the house Colorado game next year across from the stadium. Ross, see you there. I don't care what Brian and Jimmy are doing. I'm going to be there. Prime time coming to town. Donnie, thank you for joining today. We're running just a little bit over an hour. Appreciate you guys joining today. Again, we talked about a lot, covered a lot of football, a lot more than we probably planned on in the beginning, but there's a lot to talk about.
That's the way it goes.
A lot to talk about. So thank you very much to everyone that joined today. Again, I'm Matt.
I'm Jimmy.
We are Two Average Guys. Have a great, wonderful day, and thank you to Brian for our producer. Thank you to Backswing for the beer. Thank you to the Killigans for the music, and
we'll see you next time.
Are you still watching? Go Cowboys.